Welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. In this podcast, I interview successful business leaders and industry experts to help you grow your business. In this episode, my guest is Manuj Aggarwal, founder of TetraNoodle Technologies, AI and cybersecurity consulting company. He's a keynote speaker on various different topics around AI. He's board member for California-based innovative health organization Virufy. He has 4 patents on technology, and he's author of 2 technology books. He's also a host of Bootstrapping Your Dreams podcast, and he has a YouTube channel. We had a very interesting discussion on many different topics around AI. As a business leaders, we are all thinking about AI, how it's going to impact our businesses. And as a business leaders, if you're thinking about it, is it just hype? Is there real advantage to using AI in a business? Is it really going to impact your business? If you have these questions, you don't want to miss this discussion. Manuj talks about the very practical application that you could use in your business today to impact either your business process or your business growth. There's many different ways you can use AI to improve your business. He also talks about much hype ChatGPT and many other applications that you can use in a business. So if you like this content, don't forget to send me your feedback, and then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Until next time, please welcome Manuj Aggarwal. Hi guys, welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. Today my guest is someone very special all the way from BC, Manuj Aggarwal. Manuj, the topic, your expertise, AI. Everybody's talking about AI, and I'm looking forward to learning from you, looking forward to discovering what's in for businesses. So thank you so much for time, and welcome to the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
So walk us through, you're an expert in this, so you're helping business leaders with the AI and a lot of other technology initiatives. So where do you see some of the biggest changes when it comes to AI? Is it just a hype, or is it a practical application as well in a business?
Let me clear up some misconceptions. People think that AI just showed up on the scene just recently, especially with the release of ChatGPT. But most people don't realize AI has been around since the 70s in various forms. People have called it different names, but the idea behind AI is just looking at vast amount of data, finding the patterns in that data. And there are many, many practical applications of that. If you just take out your smartphone, pretty much every app on that, or the way that it connects to the internet, is all controlled by AI. We are recording this Zoom recording, sitting across thousands of miles to each other, and the traffic that between our computers is being optimized by AI. So AI already is all around us. The other thing is, speaking about practical business use cases, people who realize the power of AI earlier on, they have become the most wealthy and powerful people on the planet. So if you talk about Jeff Bezos, Amazon is nothing else but a bunch of AI algorithms optimizing our shopping experience, right? Elon Musk, same thing. Tesla is not actually a car company; it's an AI and data company. His company SpaceX, there is no way somebody can land a rocket in the middle of the ocean without using AI, right? So AI has many, many practical applications. Now, what has happened is a lot of these people who used it, they benefited from it. But now with ChatGPT and other platforms, the AI platforms have become democratized, meaning everybody can use it. So that is why we have been hearing so much in the news about AI, because now everybody is waking up and realizing how much power this technology has.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I know from software development standpoint, most software developer or database developers, they understood this for many years. Either it's just like sequencing when you're building a piece of code, that, it was getting intelligence with the libraries and all that kind of plugins over the time. And the same as in a database, right? So besides the database, you build those, sequences, all that code there, and you automate that stuff. So that was already existing. But I think that's a great point, that it's just ChatGPT or any of those, applications that brought it to the mainstream. And where does the fear come from? A lot of people are feared that, this can damage, can take just jobs away. What do you think the fear comes from in a market?
See, first of all, this is a normal reaction, as when something new is introduced, most humans react the same way, because we have been hardwired to be a little bit, suspicious of the unknown. So even when the internet was just coming up, you may remember there was a whole hysteria about Y2K.
Yeah.
The year 2000, that people thought, the world is going to collapse and there's not going to be any groceries left in the stores and whatnot. So these things are not new. Every time new technology is introduced, humans behave the same way. Now there are other factors as well, like Hollywood has not done a great job in portraying AI in a positive manner, right? So we have watched movies like The Terminator and all of that. So that affects the human psyche. And then there's job displacement. So that is a real thing. So, the fear that AI is going to take over humanity, I can speak in depth about that, like why that is not a valid fear. But let's talk about the immediate one, which is job loss or job displacement. So once again, yes, I believe there is going to be job displacement, but it is not going to be like, okay, AI is taking over my job. It is like somebody else, another human being who understands AI or uses AI will take over my job. So what does that mean? So, let's say you were in 1995 and I came to you and I asked you, Gurmeet, do you need a website or do you need an email address? 95% of the people will say, no, I have my landline, I have my yellow pages, so I don't think I need anything like that. But just 10 years later in 2005, if you were to apply even for an entry-level job and you didn't have an email address, I don't think you will get too far, right? So it's the same situation here. So if you consider AI being a tool that can make you more productive, that can provide better opportunities. So once again, people who can look at this as an opportunity to upskill or improve their career, then you will realize there's going to be many new opportunities, much more satisfying jobs, much more creative jobs, much more fun jobs will open up as a result of AI. And if you want to go into like why AI is not going to take over humanity, I can speak about that as well.
Yeah, no, we can talk about that, but I think you're right about that. When calculators came in, everybody was afraid of calculators. This is going to calculate it, so what do I have to sit there and calculate stuff, right?
Yes.
But what I'm hearing is that the skill set required to do the job, that will change. But a lot of reputational stuff, a lot of labor-intensive stuff, where you can automate some of that stuff, so AI will take over, but not that human touch. I mean, customer service, how do you take that away? That you cannot do that for AI. You have to have a people interaction. Wherever there's a human required to do the business.
Yes. Even in customer service, you can imagine that AI can assist the customer service representative become more productive. So let's say if they are able to talk to 20 people a day, for example, with AI, they may be able to talk to 40 people a day or 50 people a day, right? So they, in their own workflow, they can automate certain things and become more productive, right?
But talking to human, where the sales or marketing, where you have to interact with the other human, where emotions comes in a way to close the transaction, or where somebody's sentiment comes in if you want to close a transaction from sales. What I'm hearing is that human touch is going to be more important, but all the other administrative tasks could be automated with the AI.
Absolutely. You got it right. Exactly. I mean, you can think about it. Very simple logic, right? If a machine has an IQ of 1,000, there is no human that can compete with it, right?
Yeah.
But a machine has a EQ or emotional intelligence of 0, and that emotional intelligence of human beings will become more important than the IQ.
So where you see some of the challenges, is it on a human side, the challenges we are hesitant to adopt it? Is it a mindset? Where you see some of the challenges that people are not adopting it and taking on and using to their advantage?
See, challenges are, there are no challenges. Again, every technology gets adopted in waves. So our society is divided into, multiple mindsets. So the first mindset is the innovators of society, the risk takers, right? These are the people who line up around the Apple store when a new Apple phone is released. And this falls into about 2.5% of the human population. So when these people adopt new technology, then they start to innovate, they start to take advantage of it. Then the next 13.5% of the population, which is called the early adopters, then they observe the results of the innovators, and then they start to adopt it. Then, early majority comes in, which is another 30% or so of population. So this is all research based. Like there's a theory called diffusion of innovation, and it shows us how human beings adopt new technology. So we are basically now looking at, the innovators have already adopted this technology. It has gone, it has been adopted so rapidly that the innovators and the early adopters they're already using these platforms. I think ChatGPT has crossed about 1 billion users in less than 7 months. 1 billion users is about 12
feet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I can't do the math, but 12.5% of the human population, right? So that includes the innovators, that includes the early adopters, and now we are seeing that even the early majority has started to use it. Even people, you've heard people use it for writing their school essays. People using it to create legal citations. All kinds of industries have started using it. So the next wave of technology will be, more than just writing text. How can we use it in more creative ways, finding solutions to some of the biggest problems, like, maybe cure for cancer, or, finding solution for climate change. All of these things will start to be rapidly expanded in terms of our knowledge, in terms of our innovation using AI.
You mentioned a couple of things very important. One is, definitely writing a legal documents or definitely writing a content. How does the ChatGPT changing the industry on a marketers, where they, content writing is becoming part of ChatGPT, or for law firms? I was watching news recently, and they were saying the backlog with a lot of documents that the courts are going through. Those are documents written from a ChatGPT. They used to be, for humans writing a letter, they're going to write a 1-page letter. But with the ChatGPT, you can write a 20-page or 30-page letter just instant. And now somebody has to review those documents, and for the legal purposes, and that's where the backlog comes from. What do you see the impact on content creation from this automation?
See, in my opinion, what will happen is that eventually AI is going to produce the documents or the content, and I believe AI is going to review the document as well. So it's going to be a world where most of the superficial interactions that we have put in place as society, they will be all done by AI, because it doesn't make sense for somebody to produce massive amount of content with AI and a human being actually reviewing it. It's just that we had that paradigm when humans used to write to each other, and we want to convey our thoughts and emotions through a written written content to another person. Now, people will think, okay, that's a strange world when AI is talking to AI. Like, what are we going to do? But if you look at the financial markets across the world, right?
Yeah.
In the financial markets today, 90% of the transactions happen through the machines. There is no human interaction whatsoever. Okay, whether it's buying and selling stocks or currencies or wheat or whatever it is, all these transactions are happening through AI algorithm. So, because it is not feasible for a human being to compete with the speed and accuracy of AI, eventually that is the world we are going to be moving towards. So once again, in this scenario, the only role that humans will play is to really understand each other. What is it that you want? What is it that I want? What is in the best interest of our common future? Those are the components which humans are good at, and machines will actually take that input and then sort of bring us the result, right?
Very interesting. So even with the stock market or with the other data, so what we're simply saying is the machine's going to give you comparison reports, analytical data, but the decision making still stays with a human. So whether you're buying a stock, so humans make a decision. End of the day, it just present the data in such a way that you could easily make a decision or move forward with the life.
Yeah, so the decision has already been pre-made. The algorithm already has been created in a way that all the decisions that we have to make are in the algorithm. And now the algorithm is trading in the financial market in real time. If the algorithm says it's time to buy, it will buy. If the algorithm says it's time to, sell, it will sell. So in the same way, you said there's a huge backlog in the legal system for these documents. So now imagine that somebody creates an algorithm to process these documents, and within second, each second, one document is processed, summarized, and then presented to the right party and said, okay, what is your decision here? This is your next step. So a lot of the decisions are already pre-made, and the next set of decisions can be more efficient. It can be sped up, or it can become much more efficient through this process. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how about the errors? Are we looking at a very short feature that where we can try this out and remove all the errors and make it work for humans, or is it a long way to go when it comes to technology innovations?
No, errors. I think errors are always a part and parcel of life. But as we know as technologists, whenever we build some system which is high stakes system where the stakes are high, we always account for backups, right? So even if we think about if we go to any office building, there's generally a power backup, a generator, right? Even though in North America you have very limited power cuts. So, but engineers always think about these edge cases. Now, right now we are not there yet because this technology just came out a few months ago. Yeah. But as things develop, as we find out these edge cases, all these problems will be addressed in some way or the other. So there is no doubt that within a couple of years, I think we will see flawless things like images, video, content, which will be indistinguishable from an actual human-produced content. So we are not far from that reality where machines will be able to really help us analyze this data at great speed and accuracy.
Okay, so let's talk about IT professionals. Our industry. So how does that impact us? For IT professional people who graduating from university with the understanding of AI, or people working in a field for so long, how does that align that IT professional or technology professional, the CTOs or the IT directors, how do their careers get impacted with this?
If we can again think about, let's say you are the CTO, or you are CIO, or you are an experienced or a new IT professional. So let's imagine that I bring to you, and we all know that our success depends upon our team, right? Our team is the main reason why we succeed or fail. Now, if I were to say that, Gurmeet, tomorrow I'm going to bring in a new employee for you who has a PhD in computer science. They have a PhD in artificial intelligence. They have a PhD in cybersecurity. They have a PhD in all these disciplines. And by the way, they are ready to answer any of your questions, never take a day off. How will that impact your business, right? It will impact it very positively. Now, furthermore, let's say you have 10 employees in your company. We can hire a same employee as an assistant for each one of those employees as well. How much more efficient they will get. So it's about using this as a tool to become more productive, right? Being able to handle more clients, being able to produce more value in the world. So if you just use that analogy, then you will see that it's a great tool to expand your business rapidly.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. I agree with you. For IT professional, not only you dive into IT infrastructures, operational items, but now you can automate some of that stuff and focus more on a business, what makes sense for a business, and where can you add a value in a business? Where can you automate? You can be more business consultant than simply just becoming an IT professional.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. So Let's talk about business owners. They always stay, you mentioned there's a 4 levels of that people who adopt early or adopt late. Business owners, they always very hesitant when it comes to new technology. They're still struggling with the basic technology in a security side or somebody running a mining company or they're running a manufacturing company. How should they look at AI, and how do they start, looking into it, understand software is a first step, whatever software they're using, it has to be built into it. Database is another. So beside the software and database built into AI, how could business owners take advantage of that and start thinking towards it?
The way that I guide business owners is, first of all, let's try to understand your business first. What are the steps that you have in your business to produce the value? Where is the biggest bottleneck? So I'll give you an example. We were talking to a group of 400 real estate agents, okay? Yeah. And when we looked at their day-to-day activity, 80% of their time is going in communication, internal communication and external communication, right? So now we can say, okay, if we are able to make a dent in that 80% of your time and automate certain things, how much more productive you will get. Maybe you will get time for your just own personal, taking care of your personal selves. We were talking about the importance of taking some time off, or you can use that time to expand your business, talk to more clients, reach out to more people. So the idea is that every business and industry is different. So in a manufacturing company, there may be, delays in supply chain. So we can look at that data and say, okay, how can we automate things where supply chain issues or bottlenecks are resolved? And then we move on to the next step and the next step. So it is like any new technology, when iPhone came out, there were like 10 apps on our phones, maybe like calendar and email and maybe one game or something like that, right? And now if we look at it, our phones, like there are 200 apps on the phone, right? Mm-hmm. We don't even know where to find the right one.
Yeah.
So the adoption slowly happens, but what business owners should do is really think about where are the biggest low-hanging fruit that they can they can say, okay, this is where my headaches are. And we all have headaches, as business owners, right? Now, imagine that, again, using the same analogy, I bring you an employee and this employee is ready to take on 80% of your headaches. Then you can say, okay, this is really good. If you solve this problem for me, then I can utilize my energy, my creativity, my time for some other things. And then you cross that threshold, you come to the next step. Okay, we solved the supply chain problem. Now let's focus on the sales problem. Now let's focus on the operations problem, whatever that is. It's all about just taking one step at a time and automating things.
So it's not only dealing with the bottom line, which is efficiencies. You mentioned that, but it's also on a top line as well. You can, once you deal with the bottom line, you can always start focusing on a top line where you can automate some of the sales stuff or some of the, reaching out to a client or communication with the customers probably, right?
Absolutely. There is no area of business or community or society which will be left untouched by AI. There is no such thing that we can imagine in the next 5 years which will not have an AI component. IBM CEO has said that AI is going to add about $10 trillion to the world economy by 2030. So currently, the world economy, the total sort of goods produced in the entire world is about $96 trillion. Okay, so AI is going to add more than 10% to the world GDP in just next 7 years.
Very interesting. That's a big portion of total GDP. If that's what the case is, definitely I think that a lot of our software automation, a lot of those productivity tools going to come out where you already see that. Some of the CRMs I'm seeing, either Microsoft Dynamics or you see HubSpot or you see Salesforce, these tools already have that, a lot of that built in. I was watching one of the CRM and every time you write somebody email, they give you a drop down. Hey, how many different ways do you want to write this email? You want to, add some different items or you want to just rewrite this email in a different language. So not only is correcting all the mistakes, but on top of that, it's putting a different tone to it if you want to change the tone.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Very interesting. So where are the business leaders, if they want to learn about AI, how do they start their journey? Manuj, where do they start? How do they, definitely they're gonna need somebody like expert like you, and learn from it. They gotta need a consultant to talk to. Where else they can start the journey and start learning about AI if they want to look at the business?
That's a great question, because that's where people can get over their fears. The barrier to entry is so low now. There is no excuse not to start using it. So here are a few steps. Sign up for a free account on ChatGPT, or use Bard or Bing or wherever you can find these AI platforms. And then, as business owners, start with two main things. Okay. One is, start getting better at asking good questions, because as human beings, we have been taught to find answers. But if we don't come up with the right questions, then we are not doing a good service to ourselves, to our businesses. Because business is all about just asking the right question. Okay,
Got it. Yeah.
what does the market need? What
Yeah.
price do they need it at? So when we go in the real world asking these questions, we have to spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, and the other thing is, we have to face a lot of rejection. A lot of people say, oh, I don't need this. This doesn't make sense. But with AI, you can get better at asking questions without the fear of any judgment. And then, don't treat AI as like, okay, I entered one question and gave me an answer. Have a conversation with it. When the answer comes, you can revert back and say, okay, I find this problem in this answer. Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me what are my blind spots. So you will start to see that your mind has started expanding by asking the right questions with AI. You become better at asking these questions, not only with AI, but also out there in the real world. The second thing I should advise people to do is, start getting better at telling good stories, because what business owners need is, we need to present our value proposition to our customers. But more importantly, we want to become memorable. So whenever they think of the problem that we are an expert in, our name should come to their mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stories have a very good way to make us memorable. We are not hard, we did not evolve as human beings to remember facts and figures. Okay, so let's say I asked you, Gurmeet, do you remember what did you eat in lunch 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
No,
You have no idea.
yeah, exactly. But if I ask Gurmeet, like, try to remember the best party you have ever attended. Maybe it was your wedding reception, or your son's birthday, or whatever that is. Do you remember the menu that was served?
You will remember.
That,
Yeah.
right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so now you can see that the reason is because that event had an emotional impact. There's a story behind it. There is some event that happened that captured your imagination. So that's how our mind remembers things, right? Not the small little facts and figures. So if you're good at telling stories, then people will remember you. So if you do these two things, you will be well on your way. Your mind will start to come up with new ideas on how you can utilize it in your business, in your life.
Very interesting. So the story what you mentioned, that is that a business story or is it a personal story? So if you have a 4 or 5 people, a team in a marketing or sales, or if you have a large team, everybody has a different stories, right? So do you want them to tell a different story, or is it as one brand story that the one story kind of stands out for the whole company?
All of it. So wherever you communicate, as during this conversation, we brought up many stories. Stories are nothing else but our personal experiences. So what you do is, you obviously know your business, your customer. You can come up with 10, 12 story plots, or some things that happen, in your childhood, in your business life, in your personal life, and then try to use the analogies and examples from that story to convey your point of view. So let's say you're talking to somebody about your product or service, IT services. Then you, rather than saying, okay, this IT service is going to help you become more efficient, it's going to save you cost, it will make you secure. You can share a story. You can say, oh, by the way, we were working with, XYZ company, and they were making this much revenue, but the owner was stressed out because of, all the all the manual work that was being done. And then one day they had a security breach, and we helped them out, and now they are in this case in this uh, income like revenue level or whatever, right? Now it is the same information, but rather than a bullet point list, you are telling a story. Now that story gets embedded in our mind, because now we can feel the emotions that the other person was going through. And I will give you a magic wand here to the audience here, okay? In order to understand the power of this thing, take your personal life and say, we are all trying to achieve something. We are all sort of ambitious people. Everybody is trying to, everybody looks forward to, okay, what will happen in my life? What is good and pleasant? So think of something that you want to achieve in the next 30 days, okay?
Yeah.
Not something big. Let's say you want to close a deal. Let's say you want to take a mini vacation with your family. So generally, when people have these goals in their mind, they are not very clear on exactly how it is going to happen or how it will unfold. So go to ChatGPT and describe the scenario and say, this is who I am. I'm running a business. I live in this city, and this is how old I am. I have 2 kids, blah, blah, blah. And I am going to this picnic in the next 30 days in the mountains. Write a detailed story of 2,000, 2,500 words about how that experience unfolded. Write it in the past tense and write it in first person. And now this will describe your experience as if it has already happened.
Okay.
Now you read that story to yourself every day for the next 7 to 10 days, 15 days, and you will experience a major shift happening in your mind. Okay.
Yes,
And many of those things that are in the story, they will actually start to come true.
So let me understand. So play it back. So when in a ChatGPT, you tell it to what story should be. So you tell it in a point format, one after another one, that this
anyhow. You can give it 3 sentences and you can say, okay, I'm 48 years old. I have 2 kids. I want to go to a picnic. Write me a detailed story about how where did we go, who did we meet, what did we eat, what did we play, all of that, and then it'll give you very detailed imaginary story. Now our mind is such that it doesn't know what is imaginary or what is real,
especially subconscious mind. It can't tell the difference. Yeah,
exactly. So when you read it to yourself, you're basically just planting seeds in your subconscious mind. That's how powerful this is.
So even when you ask ChatGPT for the story, you're writing in a past sentence. So you ask him, this happened, then it will give you a story back. I got
exactly.
It. Understand. Okay, so then you repeat the story over and over. It's just some similar to what you call it, affirmations or whatever.
Absolutely. Affirmation. So this is even more powerful because now it is creating a vivid, personalized experience for you. For your life, right? What is it that you prefer? Affirmations come to us from other people, learned, wise people, and they try to simplify it for everyone, right? It's like one size fits all. This is personalized, custom fit for you.
Interesting. So let's talk about, I don't need to put you on a spot, but let's talk about your story. How did you get involved in AI? How did you decided that you want to become an expert on AI and started a business? So if you talk about your journey a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as immigrants, when you come here to a different country, you don't have a plan. You just go with the flow. So I got a couple of jobs as I came to Canada in the software industry. And that was a .com boom time. So it was good time to be in software industry. But then I lost, I think, 4 jobs in less than 2 years because .com bust happened and September 11th, then Gulf War. So then that forced me into starting my company on, going into entrepreneurship and providing the same service to multiple companies rather than one company. And there was not a plan to become an expert in AI. As engineers, I think a lot of engineers will resonate with this, that most engineers, we want to work with the latest and greatest technology. It's like a new toy for us, right?
Yeah.
So I've always tried to say, okay, what new technology is coming up and what kind of projects our company should take on so that we can get our hands on these technologies. And the second thing is, like, what we try to do is we try to take on projects which have some direct impact on human life. Like, we have done a lot of work in healthcare, we have done a lot of work in education. So a lot of these fundamental industries have touched millions of lives through the work that we have done. So combination of these factors, they that helped us develop our expertise in AI. Becoming a thought leader was, again, it's kind of funny to say that word thought leader, because I believe my thoughts are just normal thoughts. But I think what has happened is I got the fortune to talk to many other thought leaders, work with them, be in their environment, learn from them. And this whole notion of credibility and thought leadership, I'll say that what I have found is it's actually like a contagious disease. Okay. So if you stand next to a credible thought leader, you automatically are seen as a credible thought leader. So I think there's an element to that as well. So a combination of all of this, just finding your passion, pushing yourself to look at new technologies, focusing on the common good of people, and then being being curious enough and present enough to engage with other thought leaders. I think that was the journey in few steps.
Very interesting. How big that your podcast, YouTube played a role in this? Definitely connecting with the people is one thing, but how big the role it played in your career, business?
I think that was quite a pivotal thing, because as engineers, generally, typically engineers are introverted. So I was extremely introverted, and I used to think that, hey, we have the talent, we have the skills, we have all these accolades, we should not have any problem getting business. But soon I realized it's not the talent or the skills, it's the relationships that grow the business, right?
Yeah.
And building those relationships, the podcast and YouTube has provided a huge platform for that. Secondly, you also become comfortable by talking to so many people. You gain a very detailed view of the world. How people think from different backgrounds, what are their concerns, what are their fears, what are their hopes. So the more people you talk to, the more insight you get about them. And now you become a better marketer, a salesperson, executor of your business. And you get better at building those relationships, right?
Yeah, no, since I started, I agree with you with your point. Since I started a podcast, I thought I was going to do a service to connect people, but I can tell you that every episode I record, I take away from that episode more than anybody else could take away, right? So I learn from every episode. So, gaining a perspective, learning from people, I think this is a great for when I started, I simply just wanted to connect few people, some experts with somebody build a business with somebody trying to make a decision. But 6 months to, in the podcast, I realized that, this is more for me than anybody else.
Yeah.
I take away more from every episode than somebody else will.
Yes. And see, you can think of yourself as a conduit. You are taking it, but then you are also spreading the knowledge into the world. And anybody who resonates with it, they will benefit. So it's a very, very, once you start doing it, like, you feel a different emotion, different kind of satisfaction. I'm sure you have felt it too.
Yeah, definitely. So to talk about your plans. So where are your businesses heading, and where are you going for over the next couple of years? Where are you seeing in a short future for yourself, and how do you go forward from it?
See, I believe we are just at the cusp of this AI revolution. A lot of people will come up with the amazing solutions. I predict that in next 7 years, we will see companies going public with only one employee. Only the CEO is the employee of the company, and everything else is done by AI. So, yeah.
You think that will happen soon? The company's going public?
By 2030, I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
So what Amazon's gonna do with this thousands of employees they have? They probably have more employees than any other companies. Same as Google.
Yeah. The society as we know it is about to change. Okay. So as I told you, for the entire human evolution, we have always valued people with intellect. So people who can find solutions to problems. That has been the main way that we value people and how society has been set up. But again, if the machine can do the thinking 1,000 times faster, then IQ or your intellect will not be as valuable. And so this is the fundamental shift that is going to happen gradually. But that shift will create a world that is not very similar to ours today, right now. Um, Things like, one person company going public will be a reality. I think in the next 15 years, it will be illegal for us to drive on the road.
Wow.
Okay. So, because everything will be controlled by AI, and humans are not reliable drivers or whatever. So these kind of changes are at a fundamental level in society, and it's not like we need to panic and say, okay, what do I do in that scenario? All these changes will happen gradually, but once we understand where the future is taking us, we can start to take those steps today and prepare ourselves. So to answer your question, we are working on building our products or also helping other innovators who want to get ahead in this game, because as I told you, $10 trillion is a big number. So even if you start today and you get like 0.0001% of that, that's a huge push to your business or life, right?
Yeah. Where do you see this open standards or just some sort of standards playing a role? I know Elon Musk talks about that. We need some sort of standards when it comes to developing AI. And compared to other companies that are pushing back, no, they don't need any standards. And Chinese companies are building AI. They're not going to follow any standards. So I know software development has so many standards. There's so many different standards when it comes to software development. How do you think that should play a role? And should there be first of all standards? Because every time there's standards, they do constrain you with what do you want to do with the software development or anything.
See, any powerful technology needs some regulations, some standards, right? And it is no different than how everything else is set up in our world. Some countries do follow standards, some countries don't follow standards. Some countries, they have their own standards. Like, we are all on the metric systems. US is using, what is it called? The imperial system, right? And they don't, they are, so they are not compatible in that sense with the rest of the world, but they are still the biggest economy, right? So as society evolves, all of these issues get addressed over time. But yes, we do need regulations because it is such a powerful technology, because it can do a lot of good as well as it can do a lot of harm as well. So without any standards, without any regulations, it can go all over the place. But that is not to say that once we have set the standard that, everybody will follow it. That's, again, just human nature. We have to recognize that life is just multiple shades of gray, not black and white. That doesn't mean that we should not do the reasonable thing. But it also doesn't mean that if we create a regulation, everybody will follow it. So there's going to be a mix of both.
Yeah, if one country follows, one doesn't follow, definitely the software they build or systems they build going to be a lot more, smart, and or automation is going to build into it compared to you trying to build it with and how do you compete with the two different software markets, especially if your race is to be financially, take a bigger part of GDP. Then definitely if you don't follow standard, you're going to take a bigger part of it, I guess, right?
Exactly.
Very interesting. So. And any good application you see recently? I saw one application, Manoj. I think you can understand, where it was simply a chat GPT. I'm not sure if it was a chat or some other piece of software. Where the farmer in India, I saw that he needed to pay the bill. Even though the systems were set in English, it translated into his own rural language, where he could, push a button and he could pay the bill, and it translated back to English. I thought it was a great application of AI. in that sense that you helping out humans other side. It's just not an application to see, but you have some human element that where you help out people to understand, automate some of the stuff. Any good application you've seen where it's very good for humanity?
I'm seeing. So first of all, my own patents, they don't use ChatGPT, right? So we created our own AI algorithms to help people with joint pains. So we used AI with with helping joint pains for people. We used AI to help students in higher education institutions complete their degree programs. Otherwise, they would have dropped out of their degree program. We help students to get personalized curriculums. So AI can be used in so many different ways. We have helped AI in manufacturing lines to detect defects in the goods that were being manufactured. And now with ChatGPT, the knowledge base had increased so much that a lot of people are using it for areas where they didn't have any knowledge. So I believe, obviously, in legal proceedings, a lot of this is being used. We are working with a online music school where we are using ChatGPT to make it easier for students to learn music. Then we are working with a customs broker house where they are. Their whole industry is based on applying the rules and regulations for import export of goods. And now we can use ChatGPT and similar interfaces for that. We are working with accounting companies because all these accounting companies, they apply certain rules which are or the government rules, but they also have some internal rules, some internal processes. So how do you combine that and create a knowledge base where every employee gets access to all of this information that they have collected over the 3 decades? So many use cases are coming up. And as I said earlier, every business is unique. Every industry is unique. So the idea is, let's look at your company, see where automation can really help, and start to focus on those areas.
Very interesting. How about finding a talent in this area? That is always a challenge. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a recent curriculum from universities and colleges if this is a part of the computer science program or not. But how do you think that people are being prepared in a workforce to adopt this new technologies? Do you see this being part of the curriculum? That new talent coming out of university, they're already aware of it?
See, first of all, technology always comes first. Education, regulation, all of that follows, right? So the car was invented first, and then the mechanics and all of that, the safety guidelines came. The aeroplane was invented first, and then everything else came later. So it's the same thing here as well. Now, the good thing is AI, as I said, has been around for a long time. And so I personally sit on a board of 2 universities helping them build their AI curriculums. And this started not like recently, but a couple of years ago. And now, with the large language models becoming mainstream, I'm sure these curriculums will be updated as these platforms become more ubiquitous and stable. But it doesn't mean, because these universities take a lot of time to understand the new technology, incorporate that into your curriculum. So maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. Yes, this will all be part of the curriculums. But that being said, even today, I'm helping build a couple of degree programs for applied AI. How do you take AI and apply it in real world scenarios, in business scenarios, in manufacturing, in real estate, in movie production, whatever that field is? How do you take this knowledge, this technology, and improve that industry? So that's happening today as well.
So these are different degrees than a normal degree with a comp science, or just it's a special type of comp science that has AI built into it?
Yeah, it is a comp sci. It has a comp sci component because you need to learn coding, you need to learn programming, but it heavy emphasis on understanding data, understanding algorithms, understanding what are the applications, real world applications of AI.
Yeah. No, that is important. I mean, definitely AI has been around for a while, but we need to educate definitely the new talent coming up. I'm not sure your talent pool in Vancouver are there, but here in Ontario, talent pool is poor. Definitely, you have to, used to be you interview, but 50, 60 people, you'll find a 2, 3, people with a great talent. But now I think that over the last few months, the numbers gone very, very small. So you got to go through hundreds and hundreds of candidates and find the right people. And that's been a challenge for a lot of companies in Ontario.
Well, if you know of those companies, let me know, because we use AI to really streamline the hiring process as well, which makes it very, very easy. You don't have to go through hundreds of resumes, but AI can do most of that work, and then you can just basically talk to a shortlisted candidate.
So filtering that resume part of that. But I think the more time is on a human side of things, doesn't person.
No, but even with all that human side of things. So
Okay.
there are yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, those are the area I think a lot of people need help in. Definitely finding a right talent. I mean, finding the right people in a business is critical. But if you can speed up that process for them, I know companies go through that and trying to find the right person. And
yeah. So our company's one of the specialties we have is we combine the knowledge of human psychology and neuroscience with AI. So in these scenarios where human touch is necessary, again, utilizing the knowledge about neuroscience and psychology, you can automate some systems to really speed up the things and find more compatible candidates.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Definitely, there's so much in your experience and wisdom on AI. I learned so much from our discussion, Manuj, and all the business leaders are watching. Definitely, I'll encourage them to reach out to you and connect with you for discussion. And who knows where the discussion can take you. But everybody's going to learn something from our discussion. Where can people find you? How can they connect with you, Manuj?
The easiest way is find me on LinkedIn. Just tell me that you heard me on this podcast, and tell me a little bit about your business. What are you trying to achieve, and how we can help you?
I'm going to include a link to your LinkedIn and your website below this video as well. I encourage them to just click a button and connect with you and have a discussion and see where that can take you. But hey, there's so much I learned. I share, got a new perspective. I learned so much from you, and definitely, everybody's going to learn whoever connect with you. I want to appreciate your time, and thanks for being generous with the time. I know it took us a little while to reconnect, but thank you so much for patience and connecting with me.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
All right, thank you.